Hello everybody and welcome to JGod Gaming. Today's video we're going to be breaking down some subscriber gameplay, and this is something I typically do on the channel. I recommend checking out the description and also down in the comments below if you're interested in having your subscriber gameplay broken down as well. This is something I particularly like to do on the channel in addition to all the other content I do like Call of Duty news, in-game updates, best class setups, other tips and trick videos. But these are my favorite just because I get to interact with my subscribers on a different level and then be able to find out different mistakes and help them become better as players. That's one of the main reasons I started the channel. If you do enjoy the video in any way, remember to hit that like button, subscribe if you're new to the channel, make sure you turn on notifications by ringing that bell. So the first thing I typically talk about is the class setup, and right now you can see they're running the PPSH with quick draw, which is not a bad choice. It just depends on how your playstyle is. Grip, very good to maintain accuracy even though it's a low recoil weapon. And then we also got the extended mags, which allow you to get multiple feeds, especially in core. Sometimes it's necessary. Looks like they're running Ordnance and TDM, which is a good choice because it allows you to cycle those streaks a little bit easier, especially if you get on the lower end. You can see right now they're running Recon, Counter Recon, and a fighter plane. They're also running Armored with that sticky nade and a flashbang, so good choices all around for TDM, especially since the match lengths don't last that long. Probably not going to run out of ammo, so you don't necessarily need Forage or Expeditionary, which I normally like to run. But for this first little sequence, it just doesn't make sense to me. It looks like they play it smart as they possibly can. They're running Armored. They see the guy right here. They kind of back up. And they do miss a few shots, so maybe their accuracy is a little bit off. You can see he's pre-aiming, trying to land the shots. And instead of maybe strafing with them and trying to re-sight in, he just continues to fire. I don't know how he gets killed by this guy. It says he got hit 5 times by a total of 2 different people. So I'm not sure where that came in. It looks like the fire finished him off. But for whatever reason, it did look like he get hit by some different angle. Maybe the guy that was right next to him. It didn't really make sense. And what you're seeing right here is immediately after that death, they ran right up into middle. And they're kind of hanging out middle. And their teammate's right there. I don't know why they would hang out in middle at all, actually. They are trying to get a line of sight there. But they're actually hanging out in the middle way too long. There's probably about 6 different angles that you could get hit from, especially if you don't have a recon in the air. The second part of that is even though you're running Armored, that is a high nade traffic area, so that's likelihood of getting double nade is pretty high. And right here, you're choosing the wrong sight line. For an SMG, this is not the route you'd run. Luckily, you clean up that kill, but ideally, since you have a shorter range of fire, you need to go around the house, through the little creek on the left, and then come up through their spawn if you're going to go that way. The shorter sight lines are the way to go. I pretty much wouldn't even peek that area because a lot of times people are camping in their spawn with an LMG or a sniper. Looks like you were able to take care of a little guy there with the mountain on. So even though he's not popping up on the map at all, you still were able to clean that up. This next death was a result of not centering very well. I'm going to slow it down for you guys so you can actually see what I'm talking about. You're going to see he ends up looking at the truck instead of looking into the open space where an enemy would be. And it's the very little things like this that actually cause you to lose a lot of your gunfights. Probably could have outgunned that guy. You still were able to hit him a few times, but he ended up finishing you off because he had the first shot since you had to drag your crosshairs over and you weren't centered exactly on that open space. You were looking more to that little vehicle to the left, the little box on the ground. As you're going to see right now, this next sequence plays out pretty flawlessly. Even though they went through the middle, which I highly recommend not doing, they end up taking care of these guys. They end up guys coming around. He gets lucky on that one. He kind of gets lucky because this resistance guy flagged it because he couldn't hear that guy. That guy was running mountain. He gets an easy little 3-piece and extended mags. It has a lot to do with that. If he did not have extended mags, he would not have had enough to clean up that third guy. So right here, he's pushing through the route that I highly recommended. Instead of going the other way, he missed that bouncing Betty. You can see it on the floor. And I know I got to watch this through a few times, but I noticed it the first time I actually watched the clip altogether. I actually saw it immediately. Anytime you've actually been an S-Mine user, you know where all the hot spots to place them are. So immediately when you come around that corner, you got to be prepared mentally. Is there going to be an S-Mine on the floor? Take it a little bit slower. Even though you had Armored, you can eat a little bit of nade damage. As soon as he came around, he was one shot. So right here, as he comes around the corner, he snaps onto a guy at a pretty reasonable range. This is probably the maximum distance you want to kill anyone with the PPSH. And he absolutely melts him, doesn't miss a shot, which actually tells me their sensitivity is right where it needs to be because they were able to hit those shots. Right here, he's able to melt that guy. Armored comes in clutch, but before healing up all the way, he comes around the corner and ends up running to an LMG guy. So not really good timing there. You probably should have waited, being a little bit more patient. And being honest with you, that is probably one of the hardest things you have to do in the game is just be patient. Because more than likely, you are going to win more gunfights at full health than at half health. If you're at half health, one shot, more than likely, you're just going to lose those gunfights. You lose them before you even enter them. And then if you were to compare that to overall statistics, I'm pretty sure you win more gunfights at full health than you do at low health. Either way, that just makes sense to do it that way. He ended up getting absolutely destroyed there by a fighter pilot. They were able to come through, get him taken out. He's not doing horrible. He's 9-6. What is that? A 1.5 KD. Ends up coming out. Ends up melting a guy right there. He kind of has a feeling they're there. You can see how he's approaching out of spawn. He's taking a little bit more cautious, making sure he got full health right here. So with the recon in the air, he decides to push middle of the map, which is probably the hardest to actually run through, especially when they know where you're at. They got that recon up. He runs right past this S-mine that's on the floor, and that seems to be a common theme. Since that bouncing Betty S-mine went off, now he was on the mini-map. He's marked. That's why the guy was coming charging for him. He knew exactly where he was coming from, but was already being low health. He was in a bad position. As he comes out of cover right here, he ends up seeing 3 guys, still engages with the one. He should have started backpedaling a little bit sooner, but most time when you run into a spawn like that, you're gonna be pressed by multiple people. So I think it's at this point that I'm gonna break down what this player does well and what they need to work on. Obviously, I've touched on several different things. Maybe the class setup, you could switch that up a little bit. Maybe do expeditionary, because the 2 times you ran into nades, one you survived and the other one you died right away. So in reality, armor didn't help you too much in this match, whereas expeditionary could have helped you with those S-mines, especially when you're running through hot areas. Or the other opportunity you could actually have is navigate the map around the outside instead of the middle. That'll probably help you a ton. Keep those engagements a little bit closer. Pay attention to where you're at. If you were on that right side, probably would have stopped that guy right there. The accuracy looked good. It's just more about those centering situations. I gave you a good example, but I'm sure you do that a lot on other maps, other modes. But keep the sensitivity where you're at and you should be pretty good. We actually have one more subscriber gameplay to break down, so we're pretty much at the halfway point. If you did enjoy the video anyway, do remember to hit that like button, subscribe if you are new to the channel, and if you would like your gameplay reviewed, remember to check out that description and comment down below. So for this next subscriber gameplay, unfortunately I don't get to see their class setup. For whatever reason, they cut off the first half of this video, and they don't actually transition weapons, so I wasn't able to actually find that out. But based off how they're using the weapon, I can already tell that they don't have extended mags. It only has 35 bullets. They probably have steady aim on. Look at how tight the hip fire spread is. So pretty much that's already 2 attachments that I kind of have an idea that they're using or not using. The steady aim, they're probably using quick draw, and I would imagine they are also using advanced rifling because they don't have a suppressor on. The other thing I can tell from the gameplay is they're obviously using airborne, because the way the weapon looks when you sprint around using airborne, it makes it look all awkward, and a lot of people don't actually like the way it looks. Personally, I don't either. But the way they're moving around the map, you're going to see that they actually are using airborne. And if you guys had a chance to check out my ranking the divisions, I don't rank the airborne division very highly at all. I would actually advise against people using it all together, but obviously if you do well with it, more power to you. And because of the way that World War II was designed, it is not one of the best divisions. It's probably towards the lower end. The main reason I say that is because everything in the game is geared towards everyone playing slower having the advantage. So by running around like a wild person, and the reason for that is more often than not, you're just going to put yourself in a bad position. And you're going to see some of those examples throughout the video. But overall, people use airborne tend to die more just because they put themselves out in the open more regularly. Not to say you can't do well with it, which is very difficult to do. The other thing that I found to be more of a pet peeve than anything is when people don't shrink down their safe area. And down in the comment section below, this person's gonna comment saying, hey, that was me in the video. Definitely recommend them changing their safe area, because right now it is bothering me as I'm watching it, just because it is so far to the edge of the screen. And a lot of people leave it that way. They just have no clue that it is so much better to shrink it up. And everyone that switches it up tells me it's better. I've done it and I know it's better. So just go ahead and change that up. A lot of times you don't realize it's an issue until you change it up. It's a huge issue after you've made those changes. Nice little kills through mid. Got a couple kills off just because they're able to fire first. They're positioning the right way. They're looking at where their teammates are. Obviously a smart player playing right now and actually covering their teammates back by coming around the right side as they went around the left. Obviously got absolutely destroyed by a fire shotgun user. The absolute worst type of players, obviously using that fire shotgun because they can't get kills any other way. Good players wouldn't use that stuff. Comes around over here, positioned the right way, ends up melting people. Sensitivity's on point. Right here, it looks like the spawns could potentially be flipping because they do have a teammate on the other side that's coming through spawn. They are low health, so it looks like the right move. But it looks like if they push too far, it will flip the spawns. And you can see right here, as soon as they start taking C, it might be in a position where they do flip the spawns. They're all around over here. They're all capping, and then you're going to see that it ends up starting to probably flip those spawns because now everyone's spawning on the other side. And you can see the teammates push to it pretty aggressively. So now they got a case of wild spawns because they're actually dominating the enemy team. And now they're leaving B vacant. Something's going to be vacant. It's almost too hard to control everything unless you're just playing against bad players or you have teams of 2 that are really, really good. but usually you don't find those in regular public random matches. So 2 of his deaths has come with his fire shotgun. There's really only 2 things you can do against shotguns. Camp a little bit more, that means play a little bit further back. Choose long enough sight lines where the shotgunner won't just kill you, because the 2 times he's died, he's kind of come around the corner and got fire shotgun. Not much you can do about it. You pretty much insta die. Right here, he was kind of ready for the guy, but the guy had mountain, so he just snuck up on him. Not a bad death there. That one happens to everyone. Guy runs around with mountain. Hard to predict where they're at if they're not firing their weapon. But again, going back to the other thing, you got to choose those long sight lines. You can see he's kind of closing that gap when in reality should be furthering that gap. I would have probably changed up my class a little bit. You end up running that fire shotgun multiple times. Maybe you go with your armored class running with the rifle. Obviously, you got to switch it up based off what they're doing if you want to prevent those deaths. If you continue to run into a fire shotgunners, continue to die, there's not much you can complain about if you don't change it up. I know I make the mistake of sticking to my own classes, so I'm not immune to those mistakes either. You can see right there, a lot of teammates right there and no one's shooting at the guy, so looks like he did a good thing by hanging in his position. Obviously, you're enjoying the content. Make sure you hit the like button. Do subscribe if you are new to the channel. And make sure you check out that description if you want to submit your video. Obviously, so far in the gameplay, there's really been more of an AIDS type lobby, in my opinion. You got people running around with shields, people running around with fire shotguns, not positioning very well. It looks like he's going to the left side, which is a good plan because a lot of people should be focused on that B side. You're going to see as a result from coming through this side, he ends up getting a few kills, but he does commit one of the mistakes that a lot of people often do, especially when you're behind enemy lines. You do not want to give away your position. Right here, he ends up jumping through the A flag, which notifies the team, hey, someone's in your spawn, someone's in your spawn. That's why this guy's going to turn around right here. So the guy's already kind of predicting, hey, somebody's there. He ends up still cleaning him up. And then right here, you're going to see an example where airborne is actually a disadvantage. He's actually sprinting around corners, which is not good to do in World War II. He ends up getting shot when the guy's wide in the open. If he would have came up ADSing, he probably could have wiped that dude off of that head glitch. He could have been on the head glitch, shooting the guy wide in the open. Probably would have been completely fine. It looks like somebody's taking the B flag, so he does have some teammates there. But right here, he's in the middle of the map, and basically all these sight lines, as an SMG user, you're at a disadvantage. So you almost never, ever want to be in that middle spot, especially with an SMG. If he had a rifle, then maybe he could hit people at B. He may be able to hit the guy in the window. But if you're considering the fact that he's using an SMG, either one of those shots is a really tough shot. Not to say that it's not possible to shoot those shots and hit those shots, but if you're playing against anyone reasonable in that window, they're going to melt you before you get to kill them with an SMG from that distance. And if you're hitting someone at B, they're not very good if they're allowing you to kill them, unless they're just using an SMG and you got to outgun them. But for the most part, if you're going against a rifle or LMG, you're going to get smoked. Right here, he could have gone for the perfect flank. While they're capping, he could have came around, ended up getting the kill. Probably would have had a little bit better timing, would have got away from that fire shotgun guy, which absolutely keeps destroying him. I'm sure he was kind of pissed off at this fire shotgun guy because this guy keeps ending all of his streaks. Like I said in the beginning, I don't really know what he's running as far as basic training, but for me, I would recommend running Blitzkrieg or Ordnance because he would already cycle through and got a few streaks that would allow him to cycle to his further streaks. Got a flag right here. He's got to jump on there to get the score. And that's one thing that's cool about Blitzkrieg. It allows you to position yourself and not really worry about the score as much because he could have been in smarter positions, got the kills, maintained map control, which his teammates doing for the most part. They're kind of splitting spawns because they're doing C and B and A. They're all kind of mixing it up. He's on here. He comes up here, ends up getting a good little kills there. And now he gave away his position again. A perfect opportunity to get a little flank there on those guys running away from spawn. And he kind of gives that away with giving away his position. Luckily, it didn't harm him in any way. It didn't hurt him. But right here, he's actually going against this fire shotgun guy away. And instead of getting the distance further away from this area, he actually goes a little bit closer. The guy's coming around the corner, and lucky for him, he ended up missing his window, and it ended up being a shield guy. So it's kind of a really bad spot to be in. Overall, I would say this player's accuracy is pretty good. I would say their overall movement is the biggest issue, in that map awareness, positioning themselves to win more of those gunfights. A lot of these positioning, they are deep in the spawn, which is a really good thing to do, especially if you have a suppressor. A lot of the ranges they're killing people at, a suppressor would probably be more advantageous. They die a couple times just running around recklessly because they're running that airborne division, so I'd probably stop running that. I recommend anyone that runs that to stop running it. Unless you're that player that just goes absolutely beast mode every match with airborne, I would recommend just stop using it because so many of the other ones put you at an advantage. And I can even use this gameplay as an example. How many times did airborne help you get more kills? And how many times would another division have helped you get more kills? If you weigh the odds against each other, odds are another division would have better suited your playstyle and allowed you to get more kills, allowed you to be less reckless, and you would actually do a lot better. This is one of the first times you're in the middle of the map. This is not really an SMG map. I know I've had plenty of people use SMGs on it. You can. This is probably not the spot you'd want to be in. You got to stick to those outsides of the map. That's really the only middle spot you want to hang out in, is if you have armored, an LMG, a rifle. Really play the map's strengths and positioning. This is a good little sight line. As long as you come around, most of these sight lines are dominant towards the SMG. Gets melted by a shotgun guy again. You gotta post up, camp a little bit more, and you should be fine. Hopefully you guys did enjoy the video. I know it's a little bit longer than normal, but I hadn't done one in a while, so I want to make sure I was a little bit more in depth. Covered some different things, covered pretty much a whole length of a match, TDM and Dom. Hopefully you enjoyed the video or got something out of it with some of the tips. If you did, remember to hit the like button. Go ahead and subscribe if you're new to the channel with those notifications on. We'll see you guys all in the next one. Thank you for watching. As always, have a great day.